We are getting ready to get busy and to go live here on YouTube and rock the world with some of the latest and the greatest stuff that's coming here through the media. We're going to be talking tonight about, what are we talking about? Gucci.
Yeah, Gucci. That's how I need you to go
To
into
elaborate
that.
on that Gucci
Oh,
business,
yes.
right? The
Most
Blackface.
definitely.
They thought it was cute and fly and live to put out an article of clothing that depicted black people in the most scurrilous, scandalous, ridiculous way, the buffooniest way, if that's a word, to make mockery of our ancestry and our heritage. Even though we are the original man from whom all others flow, they still, in 2019, are lynching our black boys, raping our black women, and mocking our black heritage. This month, February 2019, Black History Month in America. We're going to get into it. We have today your three hosts with the most, those who refuse to quit, those who can't be slit, and our tongues can't be split. We are one of the same mind. We have Glenn Sutphin Greenwich and the very, very wonderful
Lady
Pauline Swift. That's right. She's slick and swift with it. So watch yourselves.
Okay.
And of course, you guys have your main made man, the 5-star general in the war for truth, justice, and equality. Your host with the most. He who is with the power. The one who is too sweet to be sour. Stephen G. James. Aye, aye, Captain, front and center.
Hi, this is Pauline Swift, Lady Pauline Swift, here with Our World, Hour of Power. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, and Stephen G. James, attorney at law. Thank you for listening. This should be a very interesting hour. We'll be talking about different subjects that's happening. Don't forget, this is the month of February. We're in Black History Month, but a lot of stuff is going on that's not too nice. I'll let Stephen start it off because you brought it to my attention. I haven't been on the web this morning.
Oh, okay. Well, as you know, there's been a big scandal out of Virginia, where the governor of Virginia, who also happens to be a medical doctor, who I personally would never go to because I can't trust him, obviously, put on blackface and a KKK Ku Klux Klan outfit, at least once that we know of, back in 1984, when he was in medical school. We're not talking junior high school or elementary school like we might have imagined. No, we're talking he was in medical school. He wasn't in high school. He wasn't in college. He was actually in graduate professional school doing these antics. He's filmed with someone in blackface on his graduation yearbook page. Also someone in a Ku Klux Klan's outfit on the same page, along with him laughing and whooping it up and having a grand old time like a good old boy. And he claims he didn't know anything about it for 35 years. This road and passed without a problem. And then all of a sudden, I'm on live. I can't pause, brother, but you can do what you do. And keep rocking. And I'll repeat it though.
Are you going to start recording? Okay. All right.
Open and then throw it down.
Good evening. You're here with Lady Pauline Swift and Glenn Greenwich and Stephanie James. Our World, Hour of Power. We're going to be discussing some great stuff for the next hour on, first of all, Black History Month and all the things that's happening in the world. In Virginia right now, a lot of stuff that's going on. Stephen, you want to start off and tell us again
Yes.
about what you was talking to me earlier about?
Yes, I was saying how the governor of Virginia saw it fit back in 1984, 35 years ago, to pose or have someone posing on his yearbook page in blackface in the Ku Klux Klan's outfit. He thought it was funny. He thought it was cute. He thought it was just being a good old boy. And it was exposed this February 2019 on Black History Month, first week, that this was there. And frankly, he pretended, or at least claims, not to have known it was there for 35 years. And he said he didn't know how it got there because he didn't sanction it. But we all went to school. We all went to high school and college. We know what yearbooks are about and how they're formulated. You have to submit photographs for your picture, for your page. Then you also have to have it approved by the yearbook committee.
Right.
Then usually there's a faculty advisor overseeing, because these
All
are
of that.
students, all of that, right?
So again,
And
there's
then you
group
have
of
a
people.
publisher.
There's a group of people that's involved, it's not just one person.
There are steps to this thing, as they say in the streets. There's levels to this snits, right?
Yes.
There's levels to this, and at some level, you have adults only in the publishing part of it, who put the book together. Talk to me, Glenn.
So people are sanctioning it, obviously. This is still okay in 2019, that this behavior and thoughts are still alive and well.
Correct.
Well, go to, you said this, there's a Gucci scarf?
Oh, yeah, the Gucci company out of Italy, and, you know, we are guilty as a community of supporting all of these European designers in their efforts to get rich. You know, we make them rich only to find out later that they are operating contrary to the best interests of our community. But at that point, they're already rich. We learned that over and over and over with past supported European designers. And Gucci is no exception. You know, you've been hearing about Gucci in rap music for years. You've been hearing about Cristal champagne in rap music for years. And Moet Chandon, you know, drinking that stuff and wearing these, you know, various European design clothes. Well, Gucci, one of the more popular these days, put out a scarf, because I guess it's cold in Italy these days, wherein it's blackface. The scarf comes all the way up from neck to above the nose, so that only the eyes can be seen, and everything along the face and the mouth and everything is designed by the company. It's all black with pink, big, sausage-eating lips.
But Stefan, I want to say, somebody has to be buying this stuff.
Well, it was just released.
Oh,
It
it's
was,
just been released, so
yeah.
it's not out in the stores yet.
It hit the stores, and that's what people learned about it, and it was immediately pulled.
Okay.
It had a short shelf life.
There was another Fifth Avenue store here in New York that had a display, and wasn't it images?
Right.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. It was around the Christmas season.
Yes, right
Yes.
before Christmas.
Yeah, I don't
Well, who was the designer behind that?
I can't remember off the top, but again, it was another famous designer. They
European.
thought it was European, thought it was
Cute.
cute to do that.
They brought back the old jockeys, the lawn jockeys, the ancient Mima images, and they had a whole complete display of all of those images that were so hurtful from the 20s, 30s, and 40s
Absolutely.
for our community. Is that what you're referring to, Glenn?
That's exactly what I'm referring to.
Yes, sir.
And it was
So-
on Fifth Avenue. I know it was on Fifth
It was on
Avenue.
Fifth Avenue.
It was
So-
in Macy's window, I believe, on 34th Street, which ran from 5th Avenue
Okay.
to 7th
Fifth
Avenue. Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, well, you know, again, we talked about it a little last week, but people don't understand the racial bias that they have so deeply hidden.
Yes.
You know,
Talk about that.
it's you know, there was another advertising that had a young black boy depict as a monkey. You remember that one?
Yes, I do.
So again, these are the same kinds of images that we're talking about that are just ridiculous, and
They make mockery of us,
They
and
make-
yet they happen in 2019.
Right.
We're not talking
Right.
about 1919.
Yeah.
We're talking about 2019. We think folks have had the gall to say, since we've had a black president, that racism doesn't exist. I even had someone say that since Liam Neeson kissed a black actress and almost put his tongue all the way down her throat to her toes, he can't be racist. Some foolhardy logic is that, right?
yes, that's crazy. It's
Where
crazy.
do you think this type of thinking is coming from over and over? Because now we have passed 1956 and 1965 when you know we was involved with what was
Civil
the
rights
civil
movement.
rights movement and all the different types of movements that have come about, and everybody is awakened to what to say, what not to say, and this
You would
thing-
think they'd be more sensitive But I
Right.
think
Why
that
why is it so much out in the open now? You know, all this is coming out again.
because you have a president in the White House who has now rubber stamped, if you will, that behavior as being okay. Just like he came up with this angry attitude, we can say Merry Christmas again, no more Happy Holidays. We can do this, we don't have to do that. You can push a defendant who's arrested by the police, push him hard into the police car. Don't protect his head, slam his head into the car as you're putting him in. That mentality at the so-called top, from the president on down, has kind of given the green light, the signal, if you will, to those people who would like to do those things, but for the fact that they were restrained by the mores of the times. They have been unleashed on society.
I agree with you 100%, Stephon. It's like, he does give the green light, but you know, you have to blame the people that allowed him to be elected and put into office in order for him to put on the green light for him to say the things that he said. People wanted a change when they elected him into office, and they certainly have a change. And now,
But you're talking about a more deep-seated conversation. See, this is not, let's go all the way back to Roe versus Wade. When desegregation in the South took place, what occurred? Charter schools. Charter schools were created so that white children didn't have to go in. There was a Today Show, Chanel, I think is her name, was shocked to hear that charter schools were desegregating themselves in the South. And I'm saying to myself, why is that such a surprise? They were initiated to prevent white kids from having to be integrated.
Yeah, they were designed to be segregated.
Exactly. And so in this day and age, 2018, 2019, they're now starting to integrate the charter schools.
For the
in
first
South.
time after almost 20 years of
Yeah.
existence. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
but didn't they say when they originally started with the charter schools that it was to have better education and a better opportunity?
For white children.
Okay.
Okay, because if you look at the school structures back in the South where this place was being desegregated, they could give you the statistics, and the statistics show that the black institutions were much less people were graduated. The reading levels were 2 or 3 grades below where they should have been, and so you're talking about an inferior education. This has been part of the conversation that we've had with public schools. How do we ensure our public schools to graduate children that can compete? You know, going to graduating from high school and now going to college and having to do remedial courses so that you can be at the level of everybody else in college is ridiculous. That's
not what college is
solution.
for.
Okay, also I think too that the whole system is broken. When we send our children to school, what are they actually learning? Are they learning the truth, or are they learning a bunch of lies that has been told for generation and generation and generation? I have a granddaughter, and when she comes home and she says certain things to me, I just shake my head because I know it's a lie, and I don't want to, you know, be the one to make a big uproar and say, you know, what you're learning in school, this is a lie.
Right.
Well, again, who's writing the school books? Who are the teachers teaching from? What are they basing? That's why it's so important for us to be the teachers so that we can give an experience. Let me tell you a quick aside. My daughter is 10 years old. She was going to school in Shelton, Connecticut. Now, I don't know if you guys know where that is, but that's in the boonies, okay, in Connecticut. She was the only African-American student out of several hundred students. She came home on the break and was very distressed and said,
10 years old.
10 years old.
Wow.
And she asked me, she says, I don't think my teacher's going to do any Black history. I asked her about it, and she said that she had nothing planned. So
This is recently.
No, well, this is back. She's 33 now.
Oh.
But
Okay.
she then designed, her own report, and went out and did Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman.
She gave herself a Black History assignment.
So she
Wow.
she created this assignment, brought it to the teacher. The teacher says, "Well, you do it." So the teacher, after she had created this, the teacher said for her to do it. So what she did is that she took it upon herself, and she read part of it, and then she had some of her classmates read the other bios that she had put together, and that was her.
That's how they acknowledge
Black
Black
history.
history. Wow.
So they had no intention of doing anything for the students because, of course, there were no African Americans, so they
It didn't matter.
obligated to do anything to support that history.
Right. Even though that history is their history.
Exactly.
And I also stated that, my granddaughter, she's 9 years old, so I asked her, well, what are they teaching you about Black history? And she went on to tell me the same old stories, that you've been hearing for the past 20, 30 years, but nothing current. Minorities are doing a lot of different things in a lot of different areas like engineering.
Right.
The mainstream of people are not even aware of it. Last year I went to, I was honored to speak with Reverend Jesse Jackson and one of his platforms, and it was about women entrepreneurs and women that are engineers. And the whole room was filled with women, Black women that are engineers, and they are doing such great things. And I myself, I was shocked. Oh my goodness, I did not realize that we had such a big population of women engineers.
Contributing.
Yes.
Right.
So
Power brokers.
our Black history information needs to be brought up to date.
Correct.
Well, when you think about Black history, you think about all of the contributions: the refrigerator, the
Call the
traffic
roll.
light, the
Open heart surgery.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
washing machine. The vacuum.
Yes.
The washing machine?
Yes, the
Yes.
washing machine.
Yes.
Electricity.
Yes.
Mm.
Thomas Edison. Electricity.
Yes.
The conveyor belt. Did you say elevator? The elevator.
Elevator, right. Yeah.
Every significant apparatus that we use in our day-to-day lives,
Yes.
we are learning was invented by the original man, the Black man in this country. But you understand, there were patent laws that prevented, on the books by the federal government, Black people from holding a patent.
Okay.
So you had to have, in order to patent anything, it had to be in the name of a white male. That's why they have all the credit for everything. They simply stole the patents and ideas, from slaves, think cotton gin,
Yeah.
okay, Eli Whitney, and they also stole more modern inventions because of the laws that stayed in effect until I think the 20s and 30s in this country.
I mean, what you're
where
mentioning.
a Black person could not
wonderful.
have a patent in their own name.
Well, let's bring this whole conversation back full circle.
Talk to me.
Blackface was invented to make sure that we were not recognized for the talents and the contributions that we've provided to this country all the time. And so again, Blackface was a way of
Minimizing us, devaluating
Exactly.
us, dehumanizing us, marginalizing us. It was done it was born in the minstrel shows.
yes.
And,
That's true.
okay.
It's part of showbiz.
yeah,
Yes.
Al Jolson and that crew and crowd.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that was done simply for the laughter and enjoyment and the mockery of Black people for the benefit of whites.
Yeah.
And back then, we didn't think anything of it. Matter of fact, we laughed and condoned it.
Think Amos and Andy, Calhoun, the buffoonish lawyer. Think of some of these other characters that were popular in the 20s and 30s, early days of television
we
cinema.
talked about it last week, Little Rascals.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know,
right.
I mean, it's scary to think that still exists. But that was one of the things that Bill Cosby bought and took off the air so that we wouldn't have that depiction of young black
So
children.
that mentality would perpetuate generation after generation, which contributes to and feeds into low self-esteem. I mean, and I mean, look what we have now. We have so-called rap music, where you have to, by contract, Pauline, Glenn, by contract, there are certain artists that have to say the so-called N-word, the word nigga, at least 100 times in their song. Otherwise, they're not fulfilling their contract.
Wow.
But you don't
that's
hear the
very
word
interesting.
tyke, you don't hear the word guinea, you don't hear the word spick, you don't hear the word heeb or Jew dog, you don't hear any of those words
Right.
at all.
Right.
Michael Jackson couldn't even say kick me, kike me. I bet you don't like me. They censored that right out right away. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Stop me when I'm lying.
That's right.
Listen, this is Lady Pauline. We're here at Our World, Our Power on Caribbean Buzz TV and radio. Thank you all for listening. What's next? What do we want to talk about next?
Well, you had asked me a little bit about the CBD. This is something that is very close to me, and what it is it's derived from marijuana, but it's actually used to prevent seizures. There's strands of epilepsy that this CBD has been used to minimize, and it's not it contains no THC, and so and THC is the piece that actually gets you high. So
Tetrahydrocannabinol.
Oh, that's no fun.
Just medicine and none of the float, right?
well,
That's Pauline, Lady Swift, y'all.
Well, I want to lead into this conversation because I think that this whole legalization of marijuana is a huge, huge business that is now on the verge of being expanded in a way. And my question then begins, as a community, are we prepared to take advantage of this economic boost? Because this has been coming for a while, but what I've heard and seen in other states who've legalized already is the big boys are coming in and there's no room for mom and pop type vendors in this business.
Yeah, now I see major tobacco companies taking over the grow houses, the acreage for the foundational growing of the baby leaves and the seedlings. All major corporations and pharmaceutical companies as well.
In fact, I saw that the University of UConn, UConn actually has a course on growing marijuana now. That's part of their curriculum because they realize and understand the amount of money that's going to be made in this course. And so these students are taking these courses to figure out how to grow it, how to harvest it, how to gene splice it, so that
They're taking in high tech.
different strands and so on and so forth. So it's pretty major.
You know something, Stefan, I want to ask you because you're
Sure.
an attorney. Wouldn't you say this is a good opportunity for all the drug dealers now, or maybe invest in a new way of selling their product? I mean, without now any penalties of law.
Well, what I've often said when I first saw this on the horizon about 4 or 5 years ago is that the government, you have to always watch this government with the jaundiced eye. What do I mean when I say that? They knew that this day was coming 25, 30 years ago.
Yes, they did.
And they went about the business of getting all these young black youth, 20s, 30s, 40s, a conviction.
Yes.
Many times, and as I practice law, in fact, this month I'm in my 32nd year of practicing law.
Congratulations.
Praise to God, thank you. So over my 32 years of practicing law and working in the devil's playground, I saw what was coming. They would sometimes have young black men in court all over the country. And sometimes the DAs would beg them, just take a plea, no jail. You go home, no probation either. If you really held you're firm to your conviction that you weren't gonna take a plea, no probation, no jail, no nothing, just take a plea, and it's conditional discharge, you go home. Well, that sounded good, especially to a young man who might be making his money that way and doesn't have really the inclination to pay a lawyer to go further in a case, just to get it over with and also to get this case done and go back home.
So what was the outcome?
But the goal was to riddle these young people with these convictions so that now that we're here, where marijuana, for example, is being legalized, and you're saying people can take courses in school, get licensing, and go out there and make millions,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
These young black and brown people who were marginalized over the last 20, 30 years, 2 or 3 generations, now have convictions and can't get state licensing. They can't get licensed to be a grower. They can't get licensed to be a dispensary. They can't get licensed to even work in this industry.
Yeah.
So you see what was afoot? So what are you left with now? The little white kid who, when he got arrested or stopped by the cop, was brought home to his parents, not to the local precinct. So he didn't end up with a record, but guess what? He was smoking, he was dealing, he was learning about marijuana.
So all these people that have opened these dispensaries, they cannot have any conviction.
Criminal. Right, no, because you're still dealing with a controlled substance. Don't forget, marijuana is still a federally controlled Schedule 1 drug.
So until the.
It's up there with heroin and cocaine.
Right, right.
Under
So why
federal guidelines.
are they making it such a big thing? Shouldn't they just do away with that law?
Well, this is not
If
by
they
accident.
really want to help people?
Well, this is my point. This is my point. This is not by accident. The point is that if you have these convictions, you can't get in on the boom.
Right.
Oh,
And why can't you get in on the boom? Because you have the conviction back when it was illegal. But Tommy, when he got caught, didn't go through the court system. He was dragged at home and told, don't you do that again. Okay? Whereas Rakunja or Rashid, when he got caught, he got through the system and ended up with the conviction, even if he didn't go upstate. That was the difference. Because let's face it, when marijuana started becoming legalized, I think in the first state was Colorado.
Right.
Somebody had to know that business. Somebody had to know good weed. Somebody had to know, not everybody took those college courses at that point.
That's right.
Somebody was just coming out off the street knowing this stuff. Well, where did they go to learn this? The school of hard knocks on the streets. Those were the ones who were able to get by and not end up with a conviction or arrest record so that when it became what it is becoming now, they can get in on it.
all right now we're going to take a break. We're here on CBTV, Caribbean Buzz TV and Radio. We'll be right back.
All praise is due to Allah.
Okay, folks, got a drink of water, stretch your legs. Or you wanna go right back in?
No, we could take a little break. Let me just stop this. You don't get my point? They were trying to get those convictions.
The whole conspiracy.
Yeah, this didn't happen out of whole cloth.
Was on the table.
Yeah, by the time you heard about the internet, the Army had been doing it for 40 years. You understand? By the time you heard about GPS, right, all of that, GPS, all of this so-called modern technology was already available and known to the government upside down and sideways. In fact, car dealerships were using GPS before they even told you about it.
Right.
Okay? When they would loan you money to buy a car, they had a GPS tracking device in your car. It just wasn't registered for you to follow. But your car was a tracking device from the 50s.
How do you feel about all this tracking device stuff?
Well, it's another way to keep track of you. And you and me. You know?
Easy pass.
Yeah, you can't hide. You can run, but you can't. Listen, they can look through your walls and see inside your homes from outer space.
That's right.
So we're there.
We're already there. How do you think they got, what's his name? Bin Laden.
That's true. Okay, all right. Well, that's the government. That's the government.
Well, that's what
But
I'm talking about.
yes, they do have
It's
it.
all the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
monster.
That's true. You're right, Stephen. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
I'll
This-
be back to you in 5 minutes.
Yes. I'll take a slice of pizza, please. Okay, a curry gourd. But yeah, this
We're gonna
this
come back
government
to
is a
you
monster.
in about